Welcome to writing binary ionic formulas. We're going to do only binary compounds on this video, and then the next video we'll deal with the polyatomic ions. So, if I'm dealing only with binary ionic formulas, I know that both of my ions are coming off of the periodic table. I still need to ask myself those questions because there's some important information in those questions that we asked ourselves when we were writing names in order to figure out the formulas. Question number 1, is it an ionic or a covalent compound? Well, silver is a metal, therefore this is an ionic compound. Question number 2, does it contain a type 1 or a type 2 metal? Silver, remember, is in the stair step. So that means it is a type 1 metal. That means that when I go to write my formula, remember I have to balance my charges. I'm going to have to look at the periodic table to figure out what the charge is on the silver, okay? Well, what is the charge on the silver ion? I know that the symbol is Ag, so look at my Ag and notice that it is the only element in that step, and that means it's a +1 charge. So I have silver plus, and then I have the oxide ion. Well, oxide is right here, and it's going to gain 2, giving it a -2 charge. Now I have my 2 ions. All I have to do is cross down and figure out what the formula is. So the 1 comes down from the silver to the oxide, and the 2 comes down from the oxide to the silver, which makes sense, right? I have a +1 and a -2. I need 2 silvers to cancel out the charge from the oxide. So the formula then is Ag2O. And that is silver oxide. Ready to do another one? Nickel 2 selenide. Let's ask ourselves our questions. Question number 1, is it an ionic or a covalent compound? Now you kind of have a giveaway on this. There's Roman numerals. Remember, we only put Roman numerals when we have a type 2 metal. Well, if we have a metal, we have an ionic compound. So, those Roman numerals tell me that question number 1, I have an ionic compound, and tell me, question number 2, it's a type 2 metal. What that means when I'm writing a formula, that's the charge on the metal. I don't need to look at the periodic table because I'm not going to figure it out from the periodic table. That is the charge right there. So nickel 2 is nickel 2 plus. Remember, it's a metal. It's always a positive. And then selenide, now I have to look at the periodic table. So here is selenium. That becomes selenide. It is in the chalcogen family, so it's going to gain 2 electrons. That gives it a -2 charge. Well, a +2 and a -2, they go together 1 to 1 and cancel each other out, right? NiSe, nickel 2 selenide. And that is naming binary ionic, or writing binary ionic formulas. Make sure and watch the next video in which we'll write formulas that contain polyatomic ions.